So the story goes how there was our friend Moishe Goldstein, and he's living in the 1930s in Germany, not the best place for a Jew. So he figures he's gonna run to America. He sells all his possessions and he buys these 5 sets of gold teeth. He buys gold teeth, like dentures kind of, but gold, made out of gold. So this way he has all his possession, all his money, all his assets just in a
In his mouth.
little box. I don't know if he fit, yeah, I don't know if he fit all of it. Either way, he gets to the customs in New York, and they're looking through his stuff, and they're like, okay, what are these 5 golden teeth? So he's like, oh, I keep kosher. So they're like, okay, so he's like, well, one for dairy, one for meat. So it's like, okay, fine. So you have 2, but what are the other 3? He says, oh, Passover. For Passover, it's different. So I also have one for dairy, one for meat. Passover. So the officer is like, okay, but what about the 5th one? He's like, oh, well, that one is for treif, for unkosher. Sometimes I want to have a ham sandwich or something. So that's the 5th.
A ham sandwich. Okay. That goes in the tray.
Very old.
Yeah, I figured someone would probably know.
Knew it.
Okay,
That-
thank you for laughing
that was-
anyways.
That was tray.
Treif.
Okay, that's like the one about the rabbi talking to one of his followers. I saw you in the restaurant. He said, yeah. He said, I saw what you ordered. Yeah, I saw what you ate. Yeah. So since you watched me through all of this, it's kosher, right?
It was rabbinical supervision. Yes.
I heard the story about a Jewish man sitting next to the Catholic priest. And they had for a conversation, and they discussed one was keeping kosher, the other one had 6. So they decided one to try the other and switch right. And rabbi gets invited to at a sandwich. And I'm sure that he's anyone after it was over, rabbi eats the hell out of the ham sandwich, isn't it?
But I missed that one.
The experience of sex.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now that we,
Let everybody know the joke.
yes. So now that we're warmed up.
Yeah.
So kosher is involving food, right? And food is, of course, food.
I've heard kosher applies to other things, like whether Torah or the scissors kosher.
Right. That's true. I'm what I'm talking about is tonight.
Okay.
Our discussion for tonight involves
Why?
this way I know you're paying attention. I know that you're paying attention if you're okay. So food is, we all need food. We spend a lot of time on food, we spend a lot of money on food. Food is a big part of life, right? It's also a big part of Judaism. Every the story about the Jewish holidays. Every Jewish holiday is the same story. They were out to get us, we won, let's eat. That's every Jewish holiday, right? That's the gist of it. No, but really, in real life, according to Jewish law, the way to celebrate a holiday is through a meal. And many other things. Any life cycle event in Judaism, right? There's a bris, circumcision. It's celebrated by a meal, or bar mitzvah, or even an exciting, if someone recovers from something that was dangerous, like for example, a life-threatening situation. There's a custom, there's an idea to offer thanks. One of the ways of doing that is by making a meal, celebration.
And then Shabbat.
Shabbat, right? I should have said that first.
Yeah.
So food is a huge thing. And as a Jewish person, so like everything else in our life, especially a big part of our life, so it should be directed by the Torah. It should be directed it should have some sense of purpose with it. And that's what kosher is. I mean, that's a big part of what kosher is. So what does kosher mean? David was talking about it before. So, some people think kosher means blessed by the rabbi. The rabbi comes in, he does something, and now it's kosher. Obviously, we don't have to talk about that. That's not what it means. The literal translation of kosher means it's fit. It's literal it's fit. It's okay. It's proper. So it in the context of food, it refers to food that is fit for a Jew. It's fit for a Jewish person to be
Human
eating,
consumption,
for Jewish consumption.
Jewish consumption,
Yeah.
okay.
But there's a time element also.
But that means if the Jewish person can have it, that means anybody can have it.
Right.
Okay,
It's a good point. Yeah. So if it's kosher, it means everyone could have it,
right.
even the Jewish guy.
Yeah, well, especially the Jewish people. Only one?
So it's interesting.
Uh-huh.
So in the Torah, if I want to look for the laws of kosher, it might be a little hard to find. If that's what I'm looking for, it might be hard to find because the word kosher is not used in the Torah. Instead, the Torah has a whole bunch of different laws about food, related to food. And it never uses the word kosher, but it will say, do not eat, do not cook a kid in its mother's milk,
Mhm.
or do not eat blood, or do not eat the pig, or whatever it is. It won't use the word kosher. So kosher, when we say kosher, it's kind of like a very broad term for anything that is connected with food. And it could even be even more broad. And there's certain prohibitions related to food that are also connected to a certain time. For example, on Passover, we're not supposed to eat bread,
Mhm.
at least not leavened bread. So technically, on Passover, bread is not kosher,
Mhm.
technically speaking, but it's a different category in the sense that it's connected with the time. The rest of the year, bread is totally fine. Most of
Also,
them.
there are several other things that we consider not kosher, like anything with corn. Corn syrup is not kosher for Passover.
Right. So that depends on the custom.
That's true, Ashkenazi and
Right.
Sephardic.
So for Ashkenazim, it would not be kosher. It would not be allowed on
And
basic
there's also the time, distance of time between the day and the week.
right. That's another time concept. Yeah, there's also several laws of kosher are actually rabbinic. But I want to more of the details we'll get to in next week. But that's the general idea. But this week I want to focus more on the reason. Why do we eat kosher? Why?
Healthier.
What's the reason? So people say it's healthier.
Okay, it costs
Not
a little bit more.
Not
Jewish
necessarily.
people-
Okay.
There's
Jewish people-
nothing healthy about matzah.
No,
How about
it's
how
like, it's kind of like poi or grits. It's the stuff you add to it that makes the flavor.
But you're not supposed to add anything to it.
So,
Okay,
matzah pie is kosher,
No.
no?
it depends how you make it.
you're not allowed to add any liquid to it because it makes it unkosher if it's wet, I think.
That's actually a custom. It's not necessarily unkosher.
Oh,
In
okay.
Chabad community and some other communities, we don't make the matzah wet.
I know you
But-
don't make matzah
right,
pie
but
or
most-
anything with matzah.
Most of
I do
Jewry does make it wet.
Yeah.
make matzo brie.
Yeah, and after Passover, it's definitely fun. Make matzah brie all you want. Actually,
I didn't know that.
I have a Jewish friend that I know. He loves matzah brie. He'll make it like throughout the year. He'll just
No
make
Jewish friend.
yeah. I
Mm.
mean that's one of the ways that's what makes him Jewish. He eats matzah brie. That's how he feels Jewish. Okay, so getting to the reason, I just wanted to throw that in there, but we'll get to the reason in a second. I first want to discuss kind of the history of the laws of eating. So we're gonna read it from the Chumash in a second. When the world was created, when Adam and Eve were formed, they actually had restrictions on what they were allowed to eat. So we're gonna read about it. Pass it around here. There you go. Just enough books.
Is it already set to the page?
Not yet. So we're holding. I'm gonna look for Genesis 1:28. I'll tell you the page in a second.
This is a nice book.
Yeah.
Step by him. Again.
It's,
And 627, page 10.
Yeah, page 10 or page 11.
Hmm?
Yeah, in the
Page
English,
10.
it's on 11.
Yeah, it's 11, I'm sorry. In English, it's 11.
Yeah, I guess I'll start from verse 28. So this is describing how the humans are created. I think David is probably knows this by heart.
indeed.
Okay, so to verse 28, this print gives us a lot of commentary. It kind of throws it in, so it'll have some more background. Okay. Yes, when everyone's ready.
Good.
This is right, so this is we just spoke about how the humans were just created. They were created as a male and a female, and then they were separated afterwards. Okay, verse 28. After separating the androgynous human into male and female bodies, as will be described in greater detail further on, God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and prolific, fill the earth and master it, subdue its apparent antagonism to divinity, and reveal its inner desire to express divinity within it." Okay, that's commentary. Rule also over the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and all the living creatures that crawl on the earth. Okay, verse 29. God said to the man and woman, "Behold, although I have made you masters over the animals, I do not permit you to kill them in order to eat them. For I do not want anyone to confuse your dominion over life with mine. You must always be aware that you are only a creature. Rather, I have only given you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the entire earth, and every tree that has seed-bearing fruit. They will be yours for food. You may also eat the meat of the animals that die naturally." I want to do one more verse, and then we're going to move on to the next part.
Okay.
So, verse 30, all plant vegetation will also serve for food for every creature of the earth, for every bird of the sky, and for everything that crawls on the ground, which possesses a living soul. But those animals who I have created as carnivores may kill for food, unlike you. And so it was.
No, I've always had a problem with the first 28.
Okay.
And that is that, right there, God says, this is all you can eat. All the vegetables and everything, and also from every tree, no restriction. You get it to chapter 2, and then there's the restriction. And I think there's a disorder there between the verses of play.
But you're saying it doesn't mention the forbidden fruit. It says all trees.
I think that chapters 2 and 3 are an expansion of verse 27 in chapter 1.
Right, yeah, we actually just mentioned that. In the commentary in verse 28, it says that it'll be described in greater detail. So
Oh, okay.
this print agrees with you.
I thought I was on one notice that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the idea that I wanted to point out is that when the humans were first created, they were not allowed to. They had to be vegetarian almost. They were not allowed to kill to eat.
Mhm.
So they only allowed to eat plants, fruits, nuts, whatever it was, but no fish, no animals, unless it was already dead. So that was the way it worked, just for them.
To be an animal they find that's dead.
Not me. I don't know. Yeah, big chance that they didn't even do that. Big chance that they didn't do that. Okay, we're gonna turn now to chapter 9. We're gonna do the first 3 verses of chapter 9. So this is page 53. So we're jumping ahead about 1500 years to the time of Noah. And we all know Noah was the last remnant of humanity. He rebuilt humanity after surviving the flood. And chapter 9 is how he's coming out of the ark, and he's coming out to to rebuild in the new world, so to speak. Okay, yeah, verse 1. God blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. I promise you that you will be fertile. Okay. As for your fear about having more children, I tell you now that I have promised not to destroy the world again. Okay, now we're going to see what they're allowed to eat. There are going to be some new details. Verse 2. Furthermore, neither do you need to be concerned that your offspring's lives will be endangered, as it was before the degeneration of humanity prior to the flood. There will be a fear and dread of you upon all the beasts of the earth, and upon all the birds of the sky, and in all that will crawl on the land, and in all the fish of the sea. They will no longer try to devour you when you are alive. Rather, they have been placed in your hand. And here we have it in verse 3. Every moving creature that lives will be yours to eat. Like plant vegetation, I have now given you everything. So the commentary explains, until now, I forbade humanity from killing animals for food because I was afraid that given this power over life and death, people would delude themselves into thinking that they had godlike dominion over the world. But because humanity has become weaker and needs to eat meat to subsist, I am allowing these health considerations to override this form of prohibition. And also, another reason, because the spiritual makeup of the world is now more conducive to self-refinement, there is less danger of you becoming coarsened by eating meat. So now it changed. From Noah and onwards, humanity was allowed to eat meat. They were allowed to kill to eat. We said different reasons for that. So suddenly, humanity is allowed to eat pretty much everything. The only exception is they're not allowed to eat an animal while it's alive, which that's one of the 7 Noahide commandments.
There was an issue here also, when God commanded Noah to take so many of clean animals and
Right.
Okay, and a lot of people think it has something to do with kashrut, but it doesn't. It has to do with sacrifice of the animals. If they're clean, you can sacrifice them. Not clean, you can't sacrifice.
Right.
So you take 7 pair of sacrifices, so you don't ruin the population.
Right. Right. Yeah, it happens to be they're the same species. No animals that are unkosher are okay for sacrifices. So it's the same division. Okay, so that's all I wanted to bring out from the book for now.
Okay.
So that was two I guess 2 bookmarks in history. So we had the beginning where Adam and Eve and subsequent generations of humanity were only allowed to eat plants, no killing for food. And then we have how from Noah on onward, it became permitted. And then we have our 3rd bookmark in history, which applies more specifically to the Jewish people. And that is Mount Sinai. So this is already another 1,000 years or so after Noah. The Jews come out of Egypt, at Mount Sinai, and Hashem gives them, of course, the 10 commandments and really the whole Torah, all the commandments. Suddenly the Jews have a whole new religion to follow, a whole bunch of stuff. And that includes kosher. Suddenly there's a lot of laws of kosher. This is actually one of the reasons why we eat dairy on Shavuos.
What?
On Shavuos, there's a custom to eat dairy foods.
Gary, that's when we get our cheesecake and ice cream here.
Right. Right. So why do we do that? Why do we eat dairy on Shavuos? Besides for the fact that it tastes good. So there's many reasons for it. One of the reasons is because it's to commemorate the fact that we started keeping kosher that day.
Mhm.
As soon as we got the commandments, suddenly we have to be keeping kosher. Whatever we had until now, they have to slaughter meat now. They couldn't just eat it. They had to slaughter meat. They had to prepare it in a certain way. It was too complicated. Dairy is a lot easier to make kosher.
The application of kosher comes to mind, skipped over. And that is when God said to Noah, I'm going to kill everybody, whoever be saved, to build the ship and all that. And Noah said, all right. And then Abraham, God said, I'm going to destroy everything in the world. Abraham says, hey, wait a minute. You can't do that. Or you shouldn't do that.
Right.
Okay. So there's sort of a difference between non-kosher and Noah and kosher in Abraham in terms of behavior.
Also a difference in personality.
Absolutely. That's one of the that's one of the reasons why we, as a Jewish person, we attribute ourselves to Abraham, even though we're also B'nai Noah. We also come from Noah. That's one of the things that stands out, that kind of personality.
Yeah,
Abraham he cared for all humanity, even the wicked people. He stood up for them.
well, the people were wicked in those times too.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, he did try, but I guess
Yeah.
not
We
hard
all
enough.
laughed at him.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah.
With that, I'm sorry, not with what we're calling, but how did Noah pick their wives for them, or they just came up and said, I am going with you? Or,
For his children,
yeah, his sons.
it's possible that they were married before.
Oh, okay, I didn't,
So-
all right, I was unsure, but go ahead, all right.
Right, you're
Kosher.
saying maybe, as soon as the flood was announced, suddenly these women showed up and said, "We're going to marry into the family, and they'll save themselves."
Okay,
I don't know if that's how it happened. It could be they were married already
all
beforehand.
right, well, sometimes
Thought
probably,
they were married.
Yeah, Noah had 3 sons, and they were married. They all the daughters-in-law were on the ark.
I know they were there, okay, all right, anyway, back to Kosher.
So back to kosher. So the Jews are at Mount Sinai. They were commanded many laws, including kosher. Why? Why did Hashem command them to keep kosher? Why did Hashem give them so many rules on how to eat? So, some say that it has to do with health. I mean, very possible there could be by chance there might be different benefits health-wise of keeping kosher. I mean, there's stories, going back to the Black Plague back in Europe. The Jewish population was a lot less affected by it, and some say it had to do with the fact that they kept kosher. So
Yes.
animals that were dead, not necessarily, that might have been infected, or
That's on kosher, I think.
rats are not kosher. No,
Also because in the morning prayer, it says to wash your hands.
yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, that's
So
not.
this is why we survived.
I read somewhere, I think it was a medical account of the plague. And that some people didn't.
Didn't
uh,
clean, didn't wash or anything.
Well, that
They didn't keep
that
clean.
era was
Yeah.
filthy.
Yes, that's why they use perfume a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember, I
but,
remember.
if you washed your hands on a regular basis, you didn't get the plague.
Right, because in the morning you washed your hands before prayers, or right after the morning, right after the first 2 lines of the morning prayer, then you go in and wash your hands and you'd say the rest of it before you put your filling and everything else on. But then you also washed before you ate, because you were washing your hands and you were, and I believe you even washed your hands or your body before you went to bed. But I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, there's a concept of going to mikvah.
But, yeah, but I thought,
Always wash your hands before you cook.
yes, but yeah, I mean, back then in those days, they didn't wash. I mean, their hands they'd come in from riding or from gardening or whatever they did in the field, and they'd go ahead and they'd grab the piece of meat and they'd eat. Yeah, well, that's what fiends were for, right? Anyway, but yeah, that was
Yes.
my understanding.
Yeah, so I've heard that before, but now I was researching for this class, so I heard that some also connected with keeping
Right.
kosher. That might have been part of it.
And they blame the Jews for the plague. Why they didn't get it? We didn't-
Because they didn't get it.
Yeah, they didn't get it because they followed kosher. And they washed. They followed God's said and they washed.
So as we see, there might be certain perks by chance of keeping kosher that will be healthy, but just because it's kosher, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily healthy. I mean, anyone ever had pitcha? Or pitcha? I've never seen it myself, but I
Have what?
hear
Never seen it.
there's a it's like I think it's like a Russian kind of
Yeah.
a
I'm
Jewish
sorry,
dish.
what did you say?
It's called pitcha.
The chop, okay,
and it's basically it's like chicken fat. It's
okay.
like deep fried chicken fat or something
Uh-huh.
like that. It's probably not so.
That's ribbonous.
Oh, that's okay. That's gribbins. Okay, so
That's
picha is something similar, a little
That's
different.
what my mom used in her chopped chicken liver.
So this is deep fried. It's like
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah, I mean, because she would use the chicken fat for her chopped chicken
Use
liver.
chicken fat for a lot of things.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, burns.
I still do.
When you, yeah, and now you can go to the store to get it.
I
You don't
know.
have to make your own.
It's not as good as homemade.
This is true. Nothing is as good as homemade.
So what is the reason though? It's kosher is not necessarily has anything to do with health. So what is it? So in there's many mitzvahs in Judaism. There's really three kinds of mitzvahs, three categories, at least when it comes to, how much we understand about the mitzvah. So the first category in Hebrew is called mishpatim. That's the Hebrew word for it, which means things that we can understand logically. Like any mitzvah, for example, that has to do with being a mensch.
Mhm.
Do not kill or honor the parents. That makes perfect sense. Everyone can understand why we do that. That makes a lot of sense. That's one category. The next category is it's like even if God would have not have told us, even if we weren't Jewish, we would still probably do most of these mitzvahs if we were thinking straight, because it just makes sense. It makes sense to them. The second category of mitzvahs is called edut in Hebrew, which means that I wouldn't think of it myself, but I could understand it. For example, keeping Passover to commemorate the exodus of Egypt.
Mhm.
That makes sense. I can understand it. If I was never taken out of Egypt, I was never commanded to do Passover, to make a Seder, I probably wouldn't think of it. I don't know if I would think of it the same way. But now that Hashem commanded us to do it, I can make sense out of it. That's the second category.
Do Egyptian Jews celebrate Passover?
Yeah, of course. It's different.
All five of them?
Well, there's gotta be there's Jews everywhere.
Yes.
There was a big Jewish community in Egypt. Actually, Maimonides lived in Egypt for a while.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, it was a whole different set of Egyptians, and different.
Right.
It was thousands of years after the story.
Right.
But yeah, and then there's the third category, and this is where kosher comes in. The third category mitzvahs are mitzvahs that we don't understand.
It's what?
Mitzvahs that we do not understand. It doesn't make any sense to us.
Oh, okay.
There aren't that many of such kind of mitzvahs, but kosher generally fits into that category. It doesn't make sense to me. What's wrong with eating pig? Or what's wrong with eating an animal that hasn't been slaughtered the correct way?
What's wrong?
It doesn't make sense to me. What could there be wrong? It's the same,
Right.
it's all the same meat.
Or what's wrong with eating the back end of a cow versus the front end of a cow?
Right.
Why can't we have rump roast?
Because that's the reason for offensive around the color.
Right, because if we don't understand it, we
If
might.
you don't understand it, you just.
Exactly.
Stay away.
Right.
I mean,
So you follow that blindly.
In other words, we follow it blindly. If you think about it in a relationship, right? Someone's in a relationship, a husband and a wife, or any kind of relationship, really. So, and if one side asks the other for a favor, asks them to do something, you're going to do it no matter what. Now, hopefully you understand it. Hopefully you appreciate it, and you connect with doing that thing, and that will make it easier for you to do. But if you don't understand, you still have to do it.
What's the difference between following blindly and having faith?
That's the
Nothing.
question.
nothing,
Same thing.
nothing. It's the same thing.
The way I would put it is that it has a reason. It definitely has a lot of reasons, but it's not reasons that we know about, and not reasons that we're ever gonna understand. This is coming from the creator of the world.
I'm trying to understand what we can't understand.
Right. So it definitely makes a lot of sense, but it's not something that we could appreciate necessarily. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it's correct. It's very valuable. It's very important, and it just makes it might make it, from one side, it might make it a little bit more difficult sometimes for me to do something that I don't appreciate. I don't understand how it works. On the other hand, that's where I demonstrate my commitment and my belief. This is Hashem's. This is what Hashem wants, and I take Hashem seriously. So there aren't that many mitzvahs that fall into this category. I mean, maybe a few others. So kosher generally will fit into this category. Now, with that being said, there are different reasons or different details of kosher that are given. However, that doesn't mean that none of the reasons will really fully justify. It'll be kind of like, and there's different ways how there's different kinds of reasons for mitzvahs. So different kinds of reasons for kosher. There can be reasons which tell us why, give us more of a full picture. It can be more of a kind of like a message behind the mitzvah. And we're going to talk about some of that, as we talk about more of the details of kosher. For example, not mixing milk and meat represents not mixing different kinds of forces of severity and kindness. There's a certain message there which we'll talk about.
I have a conversation with Dad a long time ago, and this when you lived in the house and the neighbors, all that, and asked him a question. I said, "You live in a community where there's neighbors, Jewish and non-Jewish. What do we do when the neighbor next door is really poor? You get the aroma. What do you do?"
Oh, God.
Enjoy
Well,
it.
I'll tell you, I worked for Denny's for 5.5 years. And I smelt the sausage, I smelt the bacon and all this stuff, but I never had it. Never had pork since I 25, 26, and I'm 72 now. But I have yet to even tasted. The closest I've ever gotten to eating pork was having turkey bacon or turkey sausage.
That's not pork.
You're right, but that's the closest I've been to having pork. Now, when I was at Pierce College in a fraternity, we took a whole pig and buried it and cooked it and had it, 24 hours later. So, it's a big, huge turnaround from kosher to non-kosher. I used to go to Sizzler, and I get the all-you-can-eat shrimp and steak in the salad bar. Well, the steak would go home with me. I'd also have another bin or whatever for the salad bar, and I'd share the shrimp with everybody on the table. And they'd keep coming back with more shrimp, and I'd go to the, but I haven't had shrimp since then either. Since the Sizzler here closed, I haven't had any shrimp. I've had no shellfish at all. I don't miss it.
I just can't stand it. Natural state.
I'll go to one more thing. I'll go to the seafood salad, which is whitefish with the flavoring.
It's pollock.
Pollock? Okay, I didn't know. I know it was whitefish.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was pollock or.
And pollock, I don't know, is pollock?
Not even sure. It's a kind of fish, pollock.
Yeah,
And
if it's-
unless it has fins and
it's
scales,
hail,
Okay,
so
so
it's
it's kosher.
kosher.
so it's kosher.
Yeah, but they season it so it tastes
So
like.
it tastes like crab.
Yeah. That's why when you look at a menu at a sushi restaurant, they'll say right there, KRAB,
Yeah.
which is imitation. Anyway, I am sorry for taking up so much
No, it's
time.
about David, about smell. So
Well,
technically,
he just never liked fish.
technically speaking, there's no issue with smelling something that's kosher.
Yeah.
At least in most, I think on Passover it might be
Mm.
more strict.
So you could,
But-
so you can smell other people's
You
bacon?
could. I wouldn't recommend it. It's putting yourself into places that you don't want to be. But
I actually
you
don't
could.
like the smell of pork.
okay, so
Way,
It's easier.
way back when Rabbi and Rebbitzin and the kids were all here, I would walk from my house on Wisteria to here, for sure. And I'd have to walk right past the Red's Barbecue.
Now, they smell good.
Yes, yes, it does.
Their food is good.
Huh? They
Their
still
food
do.
is-
Yeah,
their Food is good.
it is. It is. Anyway, all right, I'm done.
Okay, so I want to talk about some perks and bonuses that are said to exist because of eating kosher. So, like as we said before, at the basic level, there is no real reason. You know, we don't eat kosher because we're gonna get something. You know, there's no real technical benefit out of it. However, there are more spiritual or more indirect kind of things benefits. I mention three of them. So one is that it says eating kosher food, it gives a clearer mind. A Jewish person eats kosher food, it makes their minds clearer. Their mind works better almost when they eat kosher. And there's a famous joke about
Want more water?
oh sure. There's a joke about this Jewish fellow. Thank you.
I got my coffee, thank you.
I got you.
So the Jewish guy is sitting on the plane,
Hmm.
and of course he eats kosher. So as the steward is going around, the stewardess and passing out the food, so he also has to eat. So he pulls out his, silver foil bag with, 3 layers of silver
Mhm.
foil, and he opens it up, and inside there's like a big piece of like gefilte fish.
Good big piece of what?
Gefilte fish,
Oh, okay.
something kosher. And of course, everyone around is getting these fancy meals. It's plain food, but it looked a little more tasty than his gefilte fish.
Mm-hmm.
He figured, I don't even want to eat this, but let me see if maybe I can make some money off of this food. So he tells the guy next to him, wasn't Jewish. He says, no, this is, or actually, I messed up the story. The story was that the guy sitting next to him suddenly started getting the smell. It had like a very strong smell of fish. And he's like, what is that? What are you opening up over there? Suddenly he had this idea. This Jewish fellow had this Jewish idea. He says, you know what? This is actually the food that makes us smart. This is the food. And the guy says, oh, you know what? I have to try it out. I want to be smart. I have to try this out. So either way, they strike a deal, and whatever, he charges him, $50 for a little piece of gefilte fish. And he passes it over to the rightful owner. And of course, he takes one bite out of it and he says, hey, this is just a regular piece of fish. You ripped me off. And the Jew says, you see, it's working already.
Yeah.
That reminds me of why carrots are good food for seeing. Because during World War II, the British came up with a propaganda piece saying that our pilots are better than yours because we eat a lot of carrots. So the Germans believed it.
But either way, so that joke is actually it has some it's based on something.
Mhm.
Eating kosher actually it's written in Hasidic sources. Eating kosher it helps for the mind. So that's one kind of bonus of eating kosher.
It's interesting.
Another thing which is kind of along the same lines is that in general eating kosher helps us be more spiritually sensitive.
Okay.
Actually, very interesting. I saw this recently. The Rebbe writes about how he's writing about how modern history and how Jewish observance is kind of declining. Spiritual sensitivity is declining in the Jewish population.
Mhm.
So the Rebbe connects that with a decline in eating kosher. He says the last few centuries, kosher has become less observed,
Mhm.
and that directly corresponds. That relates to a spiritual decline as well. So keeping kosher, if a Jewish person wants to be healthy, he wants to maintain his spiritual health.
What's the decision is it induces a little discipline in the person.
Definitely. So that already takes us back to what we said before, how it's It's, it's committing, we're committing to something which is beyond us in a very strong way. It's beyond their understanding. We can't even appreciate why we should be eating this and not that. We don't see the difference, but we're committing to it because we know that there's a higher thing. Right,
You know, like
Right.
committing to Jewish observance, which not a lot of Jews do today. Makes you more spiritually aware.
right.
I think so, anyway.
Yeah,
I agree.
you know, it's funny, going off the subject completely again. When your dad came over to help me with stuff in the house, he said before he knocked on my door, he looked around and didn't see any mezuzahs. And he says, well, they're probably just afraid to put them up because of what's happening. And he says, I hope not. Well, since then, I've been there a couple of years, and I know at least 7 Jewish families that are there. And it was really nice that, that they're there, and I don't feel isolated.
I think we're the only Jew in our neighborhood.
Really.
I don't know.
There's got to be another one somewhere.
Well,
Just have to find them.
I have a friend. She's not Jewish, but she says her father was. So
Right.
still, according to Judaism, she
She's
doesn't
not.
consider herself
Right,
Jewish.
right.
Well, so her mother wasn't Jewish.
No.
See, that's the same thing with myself. My dad was Catholic and my mom Jewish.
Well, you have a Jewish mother,
I'm
then
Jewish.
then the children are Jewish.
Yep.
Right.
Now, according to Reform, it's just the other way around.
Oh, they go by the father specifically,
Yeah,
or it's just either one?
Well,
either way, that's.
it's either way.
Right. Right. Okay, I want to say one other perk. It's a third perk, and this is it's kind of indirect, but kosher could affect physical health as well. We said before that kosher is more healthy, not necessarily, but for a Jew, the spiritual and the physical are connected. So if I'm taking care of my spiritual health and I'm eating kosher, that's the way a Jew should be. That's the healthy way for a Jew to eat, right? It's kosher, it's fit. So when I do that, it could affect my spiritual, it could affect my physical health as well. I've heard stories. Now I don't remember the details of this specific story now, but I remember there's some sort of story where there was a young boy came in from South America. It was a Jewish boy, and he had some sort of, it could be he had a cancer or he had something very life-threatening, some sort of sickness. And he came to the Lubavitcher Rebbe. The Rebbe told him, start eating kosher. And he started keeping kosher, and everything just vanished. Felt totally fine.
Maybe it would have vanished anyway.
Maybe. You never know. But there's other stories like that where
I've heard stories
yeah.
like that too.
yeah.
You think doesn't Sammy Davis Jr. have a story similar to that? He was in a bad car accident and he had his Jewish star in his hand, and that's what saved his life.
That didn't happen.
Was it that?
So, no, Jewish. Same with, what's his name?
Louis Armstrong.
So the Armstrong, okay.
He wasn't Jewish, but he was raised by a Jewish family. Very, very, very.
I have I have a question for you, getting off the subject of not of kosher, but I just got some silverware that I've been looking for a while that I can afford for my dairy. Now, do I just put them in boiling water to kosher them, or do I have to take them to a
Are
mikveh?
they new?
Yeah, I have. They're still in the box.
Yeah, so you don't have to kosher them, but you do. Yeah, it is preferable to take them to the mikvah whenever you can.
Okay.
So even if you use it before, it's not the end of the world.
Well,
It's not
I know,
unkosher.
so I know from your dad that in order to use it, you've got to get it koshered first.
Right, so two separate things, but
Yeah.
What constitutes, you have to actually go to a mikveh, or can you build a mikveh at the house?
if you want to build a mikvah, it's probably possible, but it's quite complicated. To build a real fully kosher mikvah, it has to, yeah, there's a lot of
It's
details.
gotta be circulating,
There's a lot of details, and it has to be in a very specific way.
it's gotta be
You have to
circulating,
actually-
it's gotta be circulating water.
Mhm.
And it's gotta be hot enough, I believe, or, isn't that
A
right?
mikvah doesn't have to be any temperature.
Oh, okay. But it's gotta be water that's circulating, like a spa. Which we jump into all the
Yeah,
time.
so there are mikvahs made for dishes. They made
Hmm.
them specifically, and if you go like in the valley, in North Hollywood or whatever, or you could also go to the ocean. You could use the mikvah, the ocean as a mikvah.
Oh, okay.
So you just go anywhere. The ocean is automatically kosher.
That would crud up his silver.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to do that, but it wouldn't work.
It'd be closer here to go to Malibu than it would to go to LA, plus I wouldn't have any traffic at this time of the year.
You gotta get 100 miles away from LA before you can.
What is it with glass that makes it kosher for milk or meat? Or no, I'm sorry, not milk or meat, for using it for regular and for Pesach.
Oh, so yeah, so we might discuss this
Okay, later
last
on.
the last
All right,
week, but yeah,
I'm
the
sorry.
idea is that it doesn't absorb,
Okay,
right? Because if it would absorb, then it wouldn't be clear anymore.
right,
If it stays clear, that means it never absorbed anything.
okay. What else we got going?
Okay, so we're nearing the end. Yeah, so we just said different benefits or different perks that that the books will tell us about keeping kosher. As we said, that's not the main reason, and in fact, there isn't really a regular kind of reason. It's something that Hashem commanded us to do, and we do it. That's really where it begins and ends mostly. That's really what it is. And eating kosher is what enables us to bring holiness into our eating, into our food. And I'll tell you something from the Tanya. This is like extra. I didn't even prepare this, but just came to mind. So the Tanya speaks about many different things, many different spiritual things. One of the things it says is it talks about how to bring spirituality into our whole life, into everything we do. And it speaks about food, it speaks about eating. So there's really two things that we need to do to make something spiritual, to make food spiritual. And number one, it has to do with our intention. Why am I eating? So if I eat it because it's good, because it tastes good, so I'm enjoying myself, that's great. But it doesn't have that higher purpose. There's nothing beyond me in that food. So if I want to make something elevated, I want to make something holy, it has to be some sort of godly purpose in my food. I should be eating it so I could do something for God. I could do another mitzvah with my energy now. So that's really the main thing. That's the main way to elevate our food. But there's one very important condition, and that is it has to be kosher food.
What?
It has to be a kosher food. If I will eat something not kosher, even if I am gonna have very sublime intentions and I'm gonna go to synagogue afterwards and I'm gonna pray and I'm gonna do all kinds of good things,
Won't help.
it won't elevate the food. The food will not become more holy. The only way to elevate unkosher food, I don't know if I would call it elevate, but the only way to bring purpose into unkosher food for us is indirectly, which is by staying away from it. That's the only way.
By staying away from.
Right. If something is not kosher,
Oh,
so I shouldn't be eating it. I should stay away from it.
Stay
So
away
now
from
I just fulfilled its purpose. Its purpose was that I shouldn't be eating it. So I just did that. So yes, I just want to wrap up with the following observation, and that is that from whichever angle you look at kosher, every little bit of it has a value. just like if someone has a diet, let's say someone is on a diet, someone is trying to, I don't know, someone's trying to lose weight. So even if they're not going to cut out all the calories that they need to, they only cut out half of them, or only even a very small portion of them. Every little bit has a value. Every little bit means something. Maybe they're not going to lose weight as fast as they should, maybe.
Like eating half a donut instead of a whole donut.
Yeah.
Because you always have to have the other half of the donut later on that day.
Yeah, so if I'm eating kosher because I want my mind to be more clear, let's say. I want to have a better, as they say in Yiddish, a Yiddish cup. I want to have a more Jewish mind. So every little piece of kosher will contribute something. Maybe I could always add more. I could have even more kosher food. By the way, if you eat a lot of kosher food, it's also good it's also good for gaining weight, by the way.
Yes.
Eating a lot of kosher food.
Apply everything to
Sure,
Zion.
it's done anything to you.
And I'm not doing enough kosher.
Apply
That's why I came to this
His
class.
wife is giving him enough to eat.
Apply
Yeah, I
everything
think
you're saying to know.
And that's plus the fact that he stays
no
away
eye?
from all of her baking stuff.
Would it theoretically have the same effect?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because again, the whole power of it, the only power that kosher has is because it's a mitzvah, because it's a commandment that Hashem gave to the Jewish person. So if it doesn't fit that criteria, it's not going to have that same power. As we said, there might be others. It might be healthier, maybe. It might be, some people actually like, even if they don't keep kosher, they like buying things that are certified kosher because
It tastes better.
does it?
Yeah, kosher chicken. Are you
Okay.
kidding? Have you ever eaten non-kosher?
Well, it has
chicken?
more salt, they say. It's more
It's
salty.
awful.
Kosher chicken is more salty because they
But
You salt it for blood.
It's
you put it
seasoned.
right.
you put it under water like you would some regular kosher chicken, and it takes all the salt out of it.
I leave the salt in.
Well, I
more
do that
tasty.
too with kosher chicken, but I always put the other type in water to clean
I
it
don't-
out.
I don't like non-kosher chicken, I only buy kosher.
Well, I'm sorry to say that sometimes I use both. Because when I make,
Don't be sorry to
when I
say
make,
that.
when I make,
You
when I
like
make,
it, that's-
oh yeah,
that's
well,
fine.
when I make my baked chicken for a large group of people, or I make my chicken soup for, like 8-10 gallons of, kosher chicken, I use regular chicken because it costs less. And I'm not serving it to a whole lot of Jewish people, if there are any, except for myself. It's okay by me. Don't look at his hand.
I just had a brilliant idea. That's all.
But I need to talk to you after we're done as far as having your wife bake a couple of things for me for Saturday.
Okay, yeah. So I'm
For Saturday.
almost finishing up.
I know.
We'll talk. So, and especially if you come to the, if I'm keeping kosher because of the mitzvah aspect, because it's Hashem's commandment, it's what Hashem is directing to us. It's how Hashem is directing us, right? Which is really the main thing. So if you look at it, there's 613 mitzvahs in Torah, which is a huge number, by the way. Keeping kosher, the laws that are connected to kosher are about 40 mitzvahs. That's how many mitzvahs you do.
40?
Something to that effect. It's around 40 mitzvahs.
Wow.
I mean, there's a whole bunch. Don't eat milk on meat. Don't eat pig. Don't eat blood. This and that. There's a whole list. If you count all of them, it's a lot. It's a few dozen. It's more than 3 dozen mitzvahs. So just to to see
Basic.
to give us I want to bring out 2 points with that. First of all, that's a huge part of mitzvahs, especially considering the fact that most mitzvahs are connected either to the temple in Jerusalem or are somehow related to somehow only apply in Israel. About 80% of mitzvahs are not even applicable to the average person, the average Jew living in America today.
Yeah.
Only 20% or so is actually applicable. So of that of that 20%, a quarter of that is kosher.
Wow,
So it's a huge point, but I also want to bring out the other side, which is that since it's so many separate mitzvahs, that gives you an idea of how kosher is really. It's not all or nothing. Of course, the more the better, but
Mhm.
I could always I could choose one thing, or I could choose a few things that I feel I want to take on, whatever works for me, and it's a lot better than nothing, and all the benefits that we said will be there for every little part of keeping kosher. Like we said, it's like eating half the donut.
Let
Still
me
getting
ask,
something.
let me ask you this. In and out. They have French fries and they have a vat of French fries. They don't have any um onion rings, they don't have anything else they put in those fryers except for French fries. Would that be considered kosher? Since they use the sink, the holders for the French fries, the vats for the French fries, which are cooking oil, there's nothing else but oil.
and what kind of
And
oil,
huh?
what kind of oil do you
I
use?
a vegetable oil.
Technically speaking, if I knew for a fact that that's exactly what they're doing, then it might be kosher.
Okay.
But there's no way to know. And I've heard so many stories of things which sounded so simple and like there's no
Oh, yeah.
way that it shouldn't be kosher. And then somehow someone walked in and they were doing something really unkosher just because like sometimes
Yeah.
not even you don't even know why they did it, but
It's like
you
going.
don't want to take those chances,
It's
basically.
like going to a fish place like Andreas in Ventura, and you want to order a fish because their fish tastes so good. But you got to remember that they also put shrimp in that same oil, so
So
it's
it's
not
fried
kosher.
fish.
So it's fried
So
fish.
it's fried fish.
Yeah, but it's also got shrimp, so it's not kosher. It's like a little drop of
A drop of
honey in something will make it non-kosher.
You say
I don't
honey?
think honey would.
Well, there's something that you add to a liquid. Oh, in the prayers, there's something that you add honey to
Oh
it.
yeah, that's for the incense in the temple.
Yeah, okay,
So that specific thing wasn't supposed to have honey
right, makes it non-kosher
for the incense, yeah.
for the incense. Okay, all right. Well, like I said, I remember reading it.
Incense for.
And in the temple there was twice a day there was incense. There was special smell that was offered. It was one of the daily sacrifices.
It's like on Abdallah when you do the candle and then you smell the incense.
Well, that's just spices.
Right, right. But
That's
if
not
you added
incense.
honey to that, when you're making your own, it would make it non-kosher.
Yeah, so the idea is that you're not supposed to have anything sweet, anything honey or even other kind of sweetness on the altar. So
Okay.
that's the law. So
So next time, make sure you kiss your other half off of the altar. Sorry.
So yeah, so that's really what I prepared for tonight. The idea is to so I call it stepping up kosher.
Okay.
We're here to explore, we're here to hopefully find something small or something big or whatever it is, something new that we could take on, something new that we could commit to and step up our kosher. So fine.
Right.
And keep on eating kosher food.
I'd like to apologize if I said anything